Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Sara Mehle, Index Research Strategist at Nasdaq Investment Intelligence, for an overview of the Nasdaq Composite Index, which includes all the stocks listed on Nasdaq. Sara, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and we typically focus on the Nasdaq 100. So give us an overview of what the Nasdaq Composite Index is.
Sure. Hey, Jill. So today we're going to be talking about the Nasdaq Composite. It is one of the three most followed stock market indices in the United States, along with the Dow and the S&P 500. It was launched 52 years ago in February of 1971, and it includes, like you mentioned, all domestic and international stocks listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. The total weight right now, 95% of those companies are listed in the United States, but 5% of them are international. And what makes this unique, especially against other NASDAQ indexes, such as the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ Next Generation, and the NASDAQ Completion Cap Index, is that there are no minimum liquidity requirements, market cap, industry sector, or any other requirements like that. So it's literally everything that's listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. And this index is tracked by the Fidelity Nasdaq Composite Index, ETF, symbol 1Q, which is 1 month shy of celebrating its 20th anniversary.
And we know the Nasdaq 100 doesn't include financials. Does the Nasdaq Composite Index include all sectors? What does the breakdown look like?
Yeah, so we do see exposure to all of those sectors. The 55% of it is technology. The next largest sector is consumer discretionary. Financials, like you mentioned, accounts for about 4%. The smallest weighted sector right now is basic materials, about 50 basis points. But when we look at the Nasdaq Composite, we're able to see the overlap with, again, the Nasdaq 100, the Nasdaq Next Generation, and the Nasdaq Innovators Completion Cap Index. So there's 79% overlap there with the Nasdaq 100. About 9% is unique to the composite. And then again, we see that financials exposure around 4%, and then real estate around 1% as well. So you are getting unique exposure here, again, with those financials and with some smaller cap names that you don't find in those other indexes in our innovation suite.
And if we take a look at the top 10 holdings in terms of stocks, what do we see there?
Currently, the top 10 names are one we're all familiar with here: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, Alphabet, ANC, Tesla, Meta, Broadcom, and PepsiCo. And Apple has the largest weight here at 12.7, followed by Microsoft at around 11. And these top 10 holdings account for about 51% of the total index weight here. So again, those names that we see, across the Nasdaq 100 and the Nasdaq Next Generation, all in one index, again, with about 9% unique names.
All right. And to wrap up here, if we take a look at long-term performance versus the Russell 3000, how has NASDAQ performed relative to that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're about 1 month short of the 20th anniversary for 1Q. So here I have performance looking from September 25th, 2003. That's that inception date for 1Q through yesterday's close. We're comparing here the Nasdaq Composite versus the Russell 3000 on a total return basis. So this does include dividends. So over that time frame, the Composite has gained over 823%, while the Russell 3000 has gained 544. Both, we wouldn't turn those down, but if you were going to look at outperformance here, that's about 279% of outperformance over the last 20 years. And year to date, we're seeing that same trend here. The composite's up about 30%, while the Russell 3000 is up 15, so about double that. So again, those long-term performance here for the composite, everything that's listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, those unique offerings in terms of no sector constraints, has stocks from, or 710 stocks from non-US companies, and is tracked by the Fidelity Nasdaq Composite Index ETF, symbol 1Q.
All right. Appreciate the insight as always. Sara, thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.